Okay, we're live. Welcome to the first ever live stream that I've done. So bear with me if there's any mistakes. But first thing I want to know, how is the sound? Is it okay? If it's okay, put a thumbs up in the chat. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, my name is Eunice. I am the creator of Rated B, and today I am here with
Alina, and I am a health coach and a nutritionist, and I'm here today with Eunice to give you a few tips on vegan nutrition and veganism in Spain.
Exactly. So if you're new to my channel, again, I usually do vegan restaurant reviews and travel guides, but today that's why I'm doing something different, because I think it's important to know if you're transitioning to a vegan diet, or maybe you're new to veganism, or you already are a vegan, it's good to kind of know good nutrition tips. Or I was talking to Alina, and there were some things that I didn't even know, and I was like, oh my gosh, so it's just good to make sure you're maintaining the best health, because it can be still easy to eat unhealthy as a vegan. So
yeah, of course,
you want to make sure you just have your nutrition facts in check. So we're going to be doing the 5 tips, and of course, it wouldn't be a Rated V video if there wasn't food involved. So we are at the beautiful Mestiza in El Cabañal, and if you want to see this food more in detail, I actually did a video about it. It was in the coolest barrio in Valencia, Spain, or in Europe, and you can check that out on my channel, and later I'll be linking it up here, so you can check that video out after this. So let's get started with number 1.
Shall we?
Yes.
Okay, so the very first thing I wanted to mention today is this big, huge myth about vegans not getting enough protein or being protein deficient.
Yes,
I'm sure you have heard that.
Always one of the first questions, like, so where do you get your protein? I'm like, wow.
How many times we have to hear that until we realize, guys, there is no protein deficiency, okay? The only thing that will get in the way of you getting enough protein is suffering of anorexia, unfortunately, because you do not give your body enough nutrients, of course. And also, if you consume a lot of alcohol, again, that can put a strain on your liver, and then it gets in the way of your body getting enough protein. And also, any kind of addiction. Addictions in general can get in the way of getting enough protein. So if you eat soya products, if you eat tofu, if you eat tempeh, if you eat whole foods and whole grains, nuts and seeds, you will get enough protein. So here we go. And you only need 1 gram of protein per kilogram of weight.
Very good.
So,
okay, I see a comment says take off the background sound. We have a microphone here, so can you clarify what you mean by take off the background sound?
It could be the restaurant.
We're at a restaurant,
Yeah,
so
we're at a
there's naturally going to be noise. So if you can't hear our voices very well, just let me know. But we have a microphone connected. So what are some of your favorite vegan protein choices?
Okay, so my number 1 is definitely tofu. Tofu is amazing for you. It's if you eat it natural, it doesn't have that much flavor, right? But if you mix it up with soy sauce or with a lot of spices, it's quite delicious. So I would say tofu, nuts and seeds for sure. Lentils, chickpeas, and beans. These would be my favorites.
Okay, very good. Okay, and so what is the next tip that you have for us?
Okay, so next I would say, because we're in Spain, and we're talking about traveling, and Eunice's travel vlog, it's awesome. So I would say eat local and seasonal foods. It's really, really important to eat local products and seasonal as well, because the second you pick your fruit or vegetables, the nutrients are going to start to disappear. Okay, so the quicker you consume it, the better for your body. So it keeps all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals. So I would say eat local and seasonal.
Which I feel can be difficult to do nowadays, just because of the way the produce industry is. Supermarkets all about exporting and getting it from the less expensive location and shipping it to wherever. So you do have to be conscious of choosing local produce.
Yeah, always go local. Always go local. And when you travel, that's the beauty of traveling as well. You know, go to the street markets and and consume their produce. It's amazing. It's fresh. It's local. So I highly encourage you to go and use the street markets for sure, as opposed to supermarkets.
Okay, so quick intermission. Let me just talk about what we have here.
Yes.
So we have a mushroom ceviche. If you don't know what ceviche is, it's beautiful.
Look at this. How can you not like this?
Exactly. If you've never had a ceviche, typically it's made out of raw fish, right? And so they've done a good job of using the texture of mushrooms and making a fresh dish. So we're just going to give this a try. And then we also got a cauliflower tabbouleh. And it's like another fresh salad type of dish, which, as you can see, these are both vegan raw dishes. So I don't know, what's your take on vegan raw?
Okay.
A lot of people get scared, like, what do you mean I can't cook my food? Am I really going to lose all the nutrients? I mean, I get paranoid about that all the time.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, that you start losing nutrients. Once your vegetables reach 50 degrees, the nutrients are kind of starting to disappear, right? So I would highly encourage you to eat as many raw vegetables as you can. But at the same time, you have to be realistic, and we cannot eat raw all the time. So I would say try to eat raw as much as you can, but not 100%. Try to mix it up, okay?
Okay, so let's give this a try really quick. I want to try how this tastes. I used to be
I haven't been here before, so you just
okay.
recommended the place, so let's see.
And apparently they changed their menu as well, so we'll see. I like the acidity that it has and the textures that the mushrooms provide as well. And this has changed a bit since the last, when I did my video, it had more lemon in it. It used to be more ceviche-ish, but it's still not bad. So that's just something good to know, that it has changed. It's rather nice. Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to give a bite to this real quick because, well,
tabbouleh is one of my favorites, especially in summer. When it's really hot
exactly.
outside.
That's what's that. The weather is warming up here in Valencia, so it's like a nice fresh salad to just enjoy in the hot weather. Because okay, I know. I'm like, let's give it a go.
It's got some cashews as well. It's very, very protein.
Okay. It's a good contrast of textures. I like it. I kind of wish I had more acidity to it. So before I remember it was more lemony and fresh, but
There's there's cashews and cauliflower and mango, no? It's got a bit of mango too. Which I think is great if you combine your fruit and your vegetables in one meal, in one dish. It's a great tip.
okay, so that is a good question because so I read that sometimes it's not good to combine vegetables and fruits because it can create like not bad bacteria, but like it creates like a bad reaction where it can create bad bacteria or gas or acidity. Like, have you heard about that as well?
Yeah, there are some fruits and vegetables that you can't really combine.
They ferment, is what they.
Exactly, they ferment, and especially if you have like a sensitive gut, and if you have suffer IBS, or I say do not mix them. Because but it can create a bit of fermentation, and it's not that good. But mango, cauliflower
work because cauliflower is nice, super veggie. Okay, so what else? What else do you tell us?
Okay, so another thing I wanted to mention is soy products. Because a lot of people say stay away from soy. Soy is bad.
Especially men. I feel like men get so scared. Like, no, I can't be vegan because eating soy it's going to give me more estrogen. I'm like, you're not going to turn to a woman.
No, you're not going to turn to a woman. And indeed, soya contains isoflavones, which resemble testosterone levels. Right? So that doesn't mean you're going to get turned into a woman overnight or turn into a man overnight. So do not worry. Those isoflavones are amazing for you, and especially for you ladies, because they protect you from breast cancer and uterus cancer. So go soy all the way. But one tip, you have to go organic. Organic, non-GMO. That's the one tip, and that's one thing I always tell people: go organic when it comes to soy. So that would be my tip about it.
Okay, so that's good to know. You can't just buy any tofu. Make sure to read the labels, and the label will always say if it's non-GMO.
Always, yeah.
So let me see here. I know you also wanted to talk about how you can avoid bloating, because I know that has been an issue in the past for me.
Yes.
You would tend to increase your legumes and your chickpea intake, and you're just like,
Yes.
why do I look like I'm pregnant
Well,
right
well, you need to inspire my latest video, okay? Because you were telling me, oh, Alina, I know sometimes I get bloated. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. If you do not, if let's say you cook with fresh legumes, fresh lentils, fresh chickpeas, fresh beans, okay, you have to soak them overnight, and then the next day get rid of that water, and then cook them. And one big tip I have for you is to use a bay leaf, because the bay leaf contains a lot of digestive enzymes, and also tenderizes your legumes. So try
That is good to know. I'm gonna start making beans, and that makes sense actually, because at home I cook beans from scratch, because that's how I've always eaten them. That's how I was raised and how I would learn how to make them.
Yeah.
And I do soak them in water overnight.
Yeah.
And so I never have issues with bloating when I eat my own, when they eat beans I make at home. But when I buy chickpeas like straight out of a can, I tell them not to rinse. I tend to take the water out and then cook them immediately. So
Well, that
cause
is a big
problems.
mistake, because all that water that
It's been just sucking in all the gas,
exactly, it just absorbs all the gas. So that's stagnant water. Think about it. Okay, that's been there for months and months and months. Yeah. So just rinse it out. Rinse out your lentils, rinse out your chickpeas, rinse out your beans before you consume them.
Okay, good to know.
And avoid
Yes. Okay, so we have a question here. I want to point out the question, and also I want to say hi to Andrea. She said hello. So hello, Andrea. And Kimberly.
Hello, Andrea. That's my sister. Hi.
Oh, that's your sister. And Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly. Kimberly is from Seattle. So hi, Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly.
Kimberly asked, are there any Spanish vegan cookbooks either of you recommend? So I can't say I've recommended. I don't have any specific Spanish cookbooks, but there are some really good recipe influencers that are from Spain. Jenny Yo Soy Vegana from Barcelona. She makes really good recipes and makes amazing reels. There's also Gloria Vegana. I know she's based in Spain. So if you look them up on Instagram, they make very good Spanish recipes that are vegan, which that's who I've seen at least that I like. How about you? Do you have anybody?
No, to be honest, not really. No, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I could look into it, and Eunice will tell you my recommendations.
But yes, typically I see a lot of the digital space, and just in terms of cookbooks in general, not specific to Spain. Another favorite of mine is Todo Verde. It's Mexican. It's a book. Todo Verde. It's a book by Jocelyn Ramirez. She's based out of LA, so she makes a lot of traditional Mexican recipes, vegan. So hers is really good to check out.
Okay, that's great. Well, how about I get on with my last tip?
Yes.
And that would be dairy and calcium, right? Because I know, everybody knows that we're told milk and dairy products give us strong bones, right? Well, not really. And I'm going to tell you why. Because what animal protein does, because milk contains animal protein, yeah? And what animal protein does, it increases the acidity in our bodies, yeah? And our bodies do not like that acidic environment. So what happens, there is, your body tries to fight this acidic environment, so it takes away the calcium from your bones to lower the level of acid in your body. So that means you're gonna have weak bones, and you're gonna be frail, and you're gonna leave yourself exposed to bone fractures and osteoporosis.
So it actually does the opposite of what the commercials claim.
The complete opposite.
Wow.
Okay. And it's funny enough, like USA and Australia and New Zealand, have the highest rate of consumption of dairy products, but at the same time, the highest rate of bone fractures. So I don't know about you, but for me, it just doesn't add up, does it?
It doesn't.
No, not really.
So, what would you recommend as good calcium? Where you can get good calcium from that's not dairy?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would just say eat your green leafy vegetables. Okay. So just whole foods in general, they will give you loads of calcium. And to be honest, if you make sure that you consume a lot of fresh whole food products, you shouldn't be deficient in calcium. Calcium deficiency should not be there. Yeah. So just try to make sure that your diet consists of a lot of fresh fruit and whole foods. And then it should be absolutely fine.
Okay. Well, that is good to know. Well, thank you. If you have any other questions, you can write it down in the comments and we can try to answer them as well. But for now, we're going to move on to tips about being vegan in Spain because we're both living here in Spain. Side plug.
And we live here.
Yes, exactly. Side plug. Whenever you're visiting a new country or a new city, don't be afraid to reach out to the vegan community in terms of Instagram. I've met all of my friends here in Spain through my Instagram. And all because we had veganism in common. So despite the fact, veganism provides so many things in terms of maybe, health or everything, but community is something big that I feel like people forget. It's so important. Connection with other people is very important. And when you meet people who are like-minded and have the same ideals as you and values, and they share and they love food, I mean, come on, it can only be good from there.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. We met through Instagram.
Yeah, we met through Instagram, and actually, veganism brought us together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Veganism brings people together.
It does. So yeah, like you used to say, no matter where you are in the world, try and dig into that bigger community and reach out to people.
And also, like, it's always, and through Instagram, you find a lot of, this is going to be one of my tips. So let me actually just go into the tips. We're going to go into this, because how long have you been living in Spain?
Nearly 3 years now.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. You've been here?
I've been here about a year and a half. So in case you're wondering how you can live in Spain as an expat, for example.
Yeah.
If you're from the EU, it's a little easier. But from the US, I'm doing a program called Auxiliares de Conversación, which means you're an English professor's assistant where you help teach English. And you don't need a degree. Well, you don't need a teaching degree. You just need some kind of bachelor's degree. And you just need to speak native English without an accent. It's really easy because the Spanish level, the English level here in Spain is pretty low. So they just need help with oral expression and pronunciation. So it gives me an opportunity to live here.
Yeah, exactly.
And you teach English.
And I teach English as well. Yeah, apart from nutrition, I'm an English teacher. So there's another thing we have in common.
Yes. Okay, so I got a question from Andrea. What are you eating there? So to recap again, if you're wondering what we have
in here. What are we eating, Andrea?
We have mushroom ceviche and a cauliflower tabbouleh. Vegan raw. We're starting healthy.
My sister was raw vegan for quite a while.
Okay, so she would be thrilled about these options.
Yeah, she would love it. Yeah, for sure. But tell us about your tips.
Yes. Okay. So tips for Leo. So number one, when you're in Spain, you want to kind of get in the vibe of the way people live here, right? So something important that everybody loves here is their café con leche, which is a latte. So café con leche means coffee with milk, which is essentially a latte. People drink it all the time, every morning, after lunch, a cortado. Cortado is a smaller version of café con leche.
It's quite strong, though.
It's strong, yeah. But the shot with just a little bit of milk as opposed to a latte that has more milk. So something good to know here is actually if you're in one of the major cities and some of the smaller cities as well, almost every restaurant and bar has a plant-based milk option. The most popular right now are oat milk and soy milk. You will find that almost everywhere. Same with almond milk.
Oat milk is just absolutely.
One of my favorite things here is that you go to the grocery stores and the ingredients are literally oats and water. They don't have any of the additives. You'll still find some brands that have the additives, but your basic €1 carton is just oats and water, and it's very healthy here. So if you want to know how to pronounce those things, leche de avena is oat milk, and leche de soja is soy milk. Yes, it's soja. Here they say soja. In the U.S., Latin America, it's soya. So that was one thing I noticed here. And then leche de almendra is almond. So that's
What's
one
your
good
favorite?
tip. Mine's oat milk. Always oat milk.
It's so creamy.
It's creamy, it's fattier, it's really good. So almost every bar and restaurant has it. You can almost go anywhere and ask them for leche de vegetal. So that means like plant-based. Directly translated, it's vegetable milk. So ask that anywhere. The only times you will struggle is if you go to the small pueblos that are like in the countryside, the small little towns. They typically are not on board with the whole vegan scene, so you'll struggle there a bit. But for the most part, almost every city I've been to, I've had no issues.
And especially lately, like I think that the vegan scene lately in Spain has just bloomed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but
Yeah, exactly. So there's even some smaller ones that have surprised me. So that's one. Second, okay, so traditional foods that you can know, that you can eat, always eat. So you come to Spain,
tell
you
me
always,
because I had a problem when I moved here.
so when you need to eat churros if you're in Spain, you just need to. That's like their thing, okay? Churros are naturally vegan. The traditional recipe is vegan. It's made of flour, water, and oil, okay? They fry it only by themselves. Churrerías never use any other additive. They don't use butter because they typically make buñuelos too that they don't use butter. So it's fried in the same oil that's never cross contaminates. Now you always want to have your churros with chocolate, with chocolate. You don't want to miss out on that. However, I love it with chocolate. You want to make sure to ask for it with water, made with water and not milk. Because if you just say churros con chocolate, they'll make it with you with milk. But you just have to say con agua, with water. So they'll make it with water, and then you can enjoy churros like any other person.
Yeah.
Next thing, bravas. Bravas are everywhere.
I have to say, I have a soft spot for bravas. Bravas
you would get tired of eating bravas. You never get tired of eating bravas. Never.
And the best part, they're not deep fried, okay? They're pre-boiled and then pan fried.
Oh, so, what? I actually didn't know that. I thought some of them were fried.
Yes. They're a lot healthier than like the normal chips you get.
I'm going to start eating more of them then.
More, yeah, of course.
So, things to know there. So, bravas are potatoes. They're like potatoes cut in like chunks. And it's usually mixed with a brava sauce, a hot sauce, but it's not hot. Okay, it's like a paprika.
Not for me anyway.
Not for you.
Spicy.
It's like a paprika sauce. Now the brava sauce itself tends to always be vegan. It's usually in oil and paprika and garlic. Like they season it, vegan. However, most bravas sometimes are also accompanied by an aioli, and that's where it's not vegan.
No.
Some places do.
Yeah,
Depending on what, and sometimes it's not even vegan restaurants. Some places will just like offer, it's a not vegan place, but they offer vegan bravas. But the trick to enjoy it is just say, can I have the bravas with the sauces on the side? Mm-hmm. Once you have the sauces on the side, you can use the brava sauce however you want.
I learned it the hard way,
and not eat the aioli. Mm-hmm. So that's how you enjoy that. And then, hold on, let me just check my notes here really quick.
Yeah, these tips are absolutely amazing for somebody who hasn't been to Spain yet, and as a vegan, especially as a vegan, because I moved here almost 3 years ago, and I had to learn it the hard way. I had to find what to eat and where to go. So.
Exactly. The other traditional meal that you can have, it's not a meal really. Well, it is actually if it's almuerzo or breakfast. Breakfast is el pan con tomate.
Pan con tomate.
Pan con tomate is a baguette with olive oil and grated tomato. And so it sounds so simple, but it is amazing. Okay, this is what you get addicted to it. It grows on you, and you're like, oh, I need that for breakfast. Like you just love it. It's almost like a brusqueta type of stuff, but the Spanish way.
Yeah, it's so that's Mediterranean.
If you go to the most random pueblo, the smallest little town, and you're trying to figure out what vegan options you have, they will always have pan con tomate, always. And other things that's common here is verdura la plancha, which is grilled vegetables.
Yeah.
That's very common here. People eat it often, so you can always ask for that as well. So yes, those are some things that you will always enjoy.
Yes, very useful tips.
And there's a lot of vegan restaurants popping up here, so you can definitely check out. One of my travel tips is I always look at hashtags, like to the city I'm going to, like vegan Valencia, vegan Madrid, because that's where the locals will usually post their food.
Yeah.
And you want to eat where the locals are going, or where the restaurants, the restaurants will usually
follow
put
the
in.
Locals. Follow the locals.
Or the restaurants will usually use that hashtag, like Valencia vegan or something. So then you can usually check out where to eat vegan through there. So that's one of the things I like to look for. There's always Happy Cow and all that stuff, but I'm like, no, I want to see where the local people are hashtagging and posting because I feel like that's better. You want to eat where they're eating.
Yeah, always.
And then, okay, so another thing to know about here is prices. So if you're from the US, let's say from the UK, you'll be so happy.
I lived in Ireland for 13 years. When I moved here, I was like, whoa.
The prices here are a little insane. So, for example, your standard café con leche, a latte, in the US, we're used to paying $3 or more. Here, even unless you're at an expensive place, it's less than €2. It's like a euro something.
A euro 80.
A euro on some
That's the average.
The average price is euro 80. So, look for, what was I on? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So yes, the prices are really amazing. And also, another typical thing here to enjoy is el menú del día. So it's menu of the day. During lunchtime, a lot of restaurants will usually provide a menu of the day. It's a fixed menu where it's a 4-course meal.
Yep, plenty of fruit.
You get the starter, you get a coffee, you get a second, a main, and a dessert, and it's usually no more than €12. No. Absolutely no more than €12.
It's usually €9.
It's usually €9, 10 euros is the average. So you get a 4-course meal for €10. I was like,
come and be vegan in Spain.
Yeah. And I also look how here they do a lot of things tapas style, was just small plates, so you can try a lot of. I mean, I always hate committing to one dish, right? In the States, you have to commit to one dish if you're ordering at a restaurant most of the time. Yeah. But here
it's the sharing
very
culture,
shareable.
Everything
you can try a bunch of different things, so that's really fun. So yes, that's one thing you can enjoy if you're coming from the States to Spain. You will find that the prices are very affordable, so that's a good thing too. And meal times. Now this is a fun one.
Oh yes, yes,
you
have to get accustomed to them. No?
You do. Because I think it's very particular to just Spain. Because even the surrounding European countries don't really have this schedule.
No. Yeah.
So the Spanish eat about 5 meals a day.
And they're very specific.
They're very specific on their times and the sizes and everything. So for example, desayuno is breakfast. Usually will be maybe a coffee, pan con tomate, croissant, something small.
Yeah,
it's nothing big.
Like
and it's usually early between maybe 8, 7, 8, 9, no longer than 9 for sure.
Yeah, it's quite early in the morning.
And then there's el almuerzo. So almuerzo can sometimes be translated as lunch, but here it's not lunch. It's like first lunch or brunch. And it can be big depending on. And
it's set in stone. No, 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. Everything stops.
10:30 or 11 o'clock is what it is.
It's a great thing, no? I mean, you need to stop and
exactly. And people here take breaks. That's another thing. They take their breaks seriously.
Well, you're coming from the US, I'm sure you're enjoying this culture.
I am used to a culture that will eat lunch or breakfast at their desk and type away. No. Here, do not get in the way of the people and their meal time. They're like, no, we're taking a break. Whatever job you're in, construction, everything, like, no, we're taking a break, bye. Another funny thing is people will be drinking beer at like 10
in the morning. Yes, of course.
That's very common here.
It's almost like breakfast, no?
It's a breakfast beer, yeah. And so, almuerzo is usually like a bocadillo, which is a sandwich. So you usually see a baguette and something you can eat, tortilla española, which is a Spanish omelet, which you can actually find vegan in a lot of places. You just have to look. But yes, it's usually like a sandwich. You can get veggie sandwiches, whatever.
And a beer.
And a beer.
and a beer.
Exactly. So that's usually between like 10:30, 11:30, 10. La comida, that's lunch. That's the main, that's a pretty big meal. And that's usually that's like 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is when you eat lunch. And on the weekends, that's when the whole families do their paellas. Yeah, they'll do their paella for hours. Like, that's a day-long event. That's what people do like almost every weekend. And then here in Valencia, that's where the paella started. So that's something you have to try.
Yeah, paella brings people together.
Exactly. And then there is la merienda, which is a snack time. The common thing is cake and coffee. I mean, who doesn't love that? That sounds very expensive. I do, so it just makes a small snack. And then there's dinner. Dinner does not start at the earliest. It's 9 o'clock. We got here early.
It's early, yes.
We got here early. We got here at 8. That's still early for dinner time, but typically dinner starts at 9 o'clock. But typically when, say friends meet up with you or something, dinner starts at 10:30.
10:30, yeah. The earliest.
Yeah, it's usually when you meet up with friends. So there's always a time where a lot of restaurants are closed.
Which are those times? Because this is what confuses me.
So 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, or depending when the restaurant reopens, it's always closed. From 4 o'clock to that's like their siesta time, that's their time to break. That's when they will close. So don't plan to eat an early dinner around 5 because you're not gonna find anything
Or eat.
or eat. Maybe at the big chain restaurants, but typically most restaurants close during that. There's a closed gap. And then
I was going to say some more like
yes, go ahead. Have this time. And then also Sundays, almost everything is closed on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
I think Madrid and Barcelona tend to have things more open because of the bigger cities.
Yeah.
But supermarkets on Sundays, absolutely not. Supermarkets are closed. Almost everything is closed on Sundays. Shopping centers, depending on what city you're in, even like the Corte Inglés here is closed on Sundays.
Siesta, no?
Yeah, like they take their day, their Sundays is their day of rest very seriously. So that's one thing too. So other than that, I mean, those are kind of my tips as well.
Great tips to know.
Yes.
Great tips to know if you travel to Spain and you're vegan or you're transitioning to a vegan plant-based diet. That is good to know.
Exactly. But again, don't be afraid to go out to different cultures that you're not familiar with, or be afraid to travel to certain countries that you feel are very meat heavy, because Spain loves their jamon, they're very meat heavy.
Jamon and cheese, they love their meat and cheese.
Exactly. But the vegan scene is growing. Nowadays, you can find vegan food almost everywhere. So don't be afraid to reach out. Again, reach out to your vegan community. Reach out to restaurants. Reach out to whoever you need to, because you can get connected very well. And it just helps elevate your travel experience and your living experience.
Yeah, and do your research before you go traveling. You know, I mean, you have social media where you can do a lot of research and look for vegan restaurants.
Exactly. And as mentioned, you always want to try and eat the foods that are traditional local food. So like, for example, one of my first things that I wanted to eat bravas. I wanted to eat tortilla, but I wanted to make sure that I found the vegan. So I searched for that specifically. Like first I would do like top foods you need to eat in Spain. So they'll give me obviously the meat ones or whatever, and then I'll Google vegan versions. Because there's a lot of times you can find that, and so you don't want to go to Spain and then go to a vegan restaurant that serves burgers. Like, no. Yes, maybe every once in a while, but it kind of defeats the purpose. Like, you want to enjoy what's local as well. Like, people always miss their traditional foods that they grow up on, so they're always going to make that vegan. So you can always find it. So that is what we have today. I hope you guys enjoyed this session.
That was
again.
Great. As first live stream.
First live stream again. Thank you.
Mishaps at the beginning.
Yes, we had maybe some technical difficulties, but
we got there.
Exactly. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in now. And again, if you like watching food reviews and restaurant reviews and travel guides, you can subscribe to this channel. Like this video if you enjoyed the conversation, or share it with anyone who will be interested in learning about these tips. But I'm very happy for you guys who joined, and just thank you for being with us on our first live stream.
Yeah, well, thank you for watching, and thank you for taking the time to watch it.
Yes.
Because everybody's time is quite precious. So
Exactly.
I hope you learned something, and I hope you'll take these tips in and enjoy your next travel.
Yes.
And stay healthy.
Yes. You can find Alina on Instagram at the Health Scoop. So the_health_scoop.
Yeah, if you need any tips and if you need any advice, just type in a message and I'll gladly answer to you.
Yes. And you can find me on Instagram as well at Rated. So yes, thank you.
Welcome, Kimberly.
Yes, thank you, Kimberly. You're welcome. Bye. Well, bye guys. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.